When everything falls apart, life may finally be rebuilding you. There are seasons in life that make no sense while you are living through them. A career you spent years building suddenly feels empty. Relationships that once gave you certainty begin to drift apart. Even the goals that pushed you out of bed every morning no longer carry the same excitement. Nothing dramatic may have happened, yet something inside you quietly whispers that the life you've been living no longer fits. Most people interpret this feeling as failure. They assume they have lost direction or made a series of terrible mistakes, so they rush to repair what is falling apart. They work harder, distract themselves, or desperately try to recreate the person they used to be. But the Stoics offered a very different perspective. They believed that some forms of discomfort are not warnings to turn back. They are invitations to move forward. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that nature never destroys without also making room for something new. What appears to be an ending is often a necessary clearing. Just as a forest must sometimes lose old trees before new growth can reach the sunlight, the human mind occasionally has to let go of identities, ambitions, and expectations that have quietly stopped serving it. Perhaps the confusion you are experiencing is not evidence that your life is collapsing. Perhaps it is evidence that your life is changing faster than your old identity can accept. And if that is true, then the question is no longer, how do I get my old life back? The real question becomes, who am I becoming now? The collapse of what you thought was you. One of the greatest illusions we carry is the belief that we are the roles we perform. We introduce ourselves by our profession. We measure ourselves through achievements. We build our confidence upon recognition, income, reputation, or the approval of people around us. Over time, these things become so familiar that we mistake them for our identity. Then, life changes. A promotion never comes. A business fails. Children grow up and leave home. Retirement arrives. A relationship ends. Suddenly, the labels that once defined us begin to disappear. What hurts most is rarely the event itself. It is the terrifying silence that follows when we ask, if all of that is gone, who am I? Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that everything outside our character is borrowed. Wealth, status, health, and praise are visitors. They arrive, they remain for a while, and eventually they leave. Building your identity upon temporary things is like building a house on shifting sand. It may stand for years, but one strong tide is enough to expose its weakness. This realization can feel brutal at first, yet it also carries an unexpected freedom. When the false foundations begin to crack, you are finally given the opportunity to discover something that cannot be taken away. Not your title, not your possessions, not the image others have of you. Only your character. And perhaps that is the only part of you that was truly yours from the very beginning. The collapse of the old self is rarely the end of the story. More often, it is simply the moment when life stops asking you to perform and starts asking you to become. Why pain suddenly becomes louder. When people begin changing on a deeper level, they often expect life to become peaceful. Instead, many experience the opposite. Old memories return without warning. Small disappointments suddenly feel overwhelming. Anger becomes easier to trigger. Regret appears in quiet moments. It can feel as though life is becoming more difficult just as you are trying to become stronger. But what if the pain is not growing? What if your awareness is? Imagine walking into an abandoned room that has been locked for years. At first glance, it seems empty. Then, sunlight enters through an open window. Dust begins to sparkle in the air. Cracks become visible on the walls. The room did not suddenly become damaged. The light simply revealed what had always been there. The same thing happens within us. For years, we stay busy enough to avoid difficult emotions. We fill our days with work, entertainment, obligations, and constant noise. As long as we keep moving, we rarely notice what is quietly waiting beneath the surface. Then life slows us down, and everything we postpone begins asking for attention. Epictetus taught that events themselves do not disturb us. Our judgments about those events do. The emotions we fear are often signals pointing toward beliefs we have never questioned. Instead of asking why life feels unfair, we can begin asking what these emotions are trying to teach us. Pain becomes meaningful the moment it stops being treated as an enemy. Sometimes, the loudest emotions appear not because you are falling apart, but because the deepest parts of you have finally been given permission to speak. And only after hearing them honestly can you begin the work of becoming someone calmer, wiser, and truly free. The gift hidden inside solitude. There comes a point in life when being alone no longer feels like an accident. It begins quietly. You find yourself turning down invitations that once excited you. Conversations that used to fill entire evenings now leave you strangely empty. Even in crowded rooms, you feel as though your mind is somewhere else, listening for something deeper than ordinary noise. Many people become frightened by this stage. They assume they are becoming disconnected from the world. The Stoics would suggest another possibility. Perhaps you are finally reconnecting with yourself. Seneca often wrote that the greatest danger is not physical isolation, but becoming dependent on constant distraction. A person who cannot sit peacefully with their own thoughts will spend a lifetime searching for comfort in places where it cannot be found. Solitude has a way of removing the masks we wear without realizing it. When there is no audience to impress, no expectations to satisfy, and no endless stream of opinions competing for your attention, something remarkable begins to happen. You start hearing your own voice again. Not the voice shaped by comparison, not the voice driven by fear, but the quieter one that has patiently waited beneath all the noise. Think of a lake early in the morning. When the wind finally settles, the water becomes still enough to reflect the sky with perfect clarity. The lake has not changed, only the disturbance has disappeared. The same is true of the mind. Solitude is not empty space waiting to be filled. It is space where clarity quietly returns. And often, before life reveals a new direction, it first teaches you how to stand comfortably in your own company. Walking without certainty. One of the hardest lessons in life is accepting that clarity rarely comes before movement. We tell ourselves that we will act once we feel confident. We will change careers once we know it will succeed. We will pursue our purpose once every doubt disappears. But life almost never unfolds that way. The Stoics understood that certainty is a promise the future cannot make. What it can offer is the opportunity to choose your next action wisely. Epictetus taught that our responsibility is not to control outcomes, but to govern our choices in the present moment. The future belongs to forces beyond us. Our character belongs to us. Imagine climbing a mountain before sunrise. The trail ahead is hidden by darkness. You cannot see the summit, nor every turn waiting beyond the next hill. Yet each step reveals enough ground for the next one. If you refuse to move until the entire path becomes visible, you will remain exactly where you started. Many people stay trapped in lives they have already outgrown because they demand guarantees before they begin. They mistake hesitation for wisdom, when in reality, it is often fear wearing the disguise of caution. Courage does not remove uncertainty. It changes your relationship with it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that obstacles are not interruptions to life. They are part of life itself. Every challenge invites the practice of patience, discipline, and resilience. You do not need complete certainty to move toward a better future. You only need enough honesty to take the next right step. And over time, those small steps create a road that could never have been seen from the beginning. The quiet signs that your best chapter has begun. Real transformation is rarely dramatic. It does not always announce itself with extraordinary success or sudden breakthroughs. More often, it arrives so quietly that you almost overlook it. One morning, you notice that something which once consumed your thoughts no longer carries the same weight. A criticism that would have ruined your entire week now passes without leaving a wound. You stop chasing every opportunity simply because it is available. Instead, you begin asking whether it truly deserves your time. These are not small changes. They are signs that your inner world is becoming stronger than your outer circumstances. Marcus Aurelius believed that the quality of life depends less on what happens around us than on the condition of the mind responding to those events. As your character matures, your priorities naturally begin to shift. You become less interested in proving yourself, more interested in understanding yourself, less driven by urgency, more guided by purpose. Growth also changes the people you attract. Conversations become deeper, relationships become more intentional. Opportunities seem to appear with surprising timing, not because the world has suddenly changed, but because you have become capable of recognizing what truly matters. Think about the roots of an ancient tree. For years, almost nothing visible happens above the ground. Yet beneath the surface, an invisible network is expanding, preparing the tree to withstand storms that have not yet arrived. Character develops in much the same way. The greatest chapter of your life often begins long before you can see its results. It begins the moment you stop asking whether life is becoming easier and start noticing that you are becoming stronger. When that shift takes place, the future no longer feels like something to fear. It becomes something you are finally prepared to meet. The life you are losing may not be the life you were meant to live. Perhaps the hardest truth to accept is that growth rarely feels like progress while it is happening. It often feels like loss. You lose certainty before you discover confidence. You lose old ambitions before finding meaningful purpose. You lose familiar versions of yourself long before meeting the person you are capable of becoming. That is why so many people mistake transformation for failure. They see only what is disappearing, never realizing that life is quietly creating space for something stronger to emerge. The Stoics never promised a life free from hardship. They understood that every season of difficulty carries an opportunity to shape character. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the mind becomes stronger not by avoiding adversity, but by learning to respond to it with wisdom and calm. If your life feels uncertain today, do not measure it only by what has been taken away. Look instead at what this season is asking you to develop. More patience, more courage, more honesty, more self-command. These are the qualities that no disappointment can steal once they become part of your character. Years from now, you may look back on this chapter with entirely different eyes. The confusion that now feels overwhelming may reveal itself as the moment your priorities changed. The loneliness may become the place where you discovered your own voice. The obstacles may become the very experiences that taught you resilience. Perhaps the life that is slipping away was never meant to be your final destination. Perhaps it was only preparing you for a life built on something deeper than comfort, success, or approval. Because in the philosophy of Stoicism, the greatest victory is never changing the world around you. It is becoming the kind of person who remains steady no matter how the world changes around them.